Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tessie and today we'll be learning how to make this overall jumpsuit with side pockets. As you can see, this jumpsuit has no half length. If this tutorial is something that you have an interest in, keep watching the video. Trust me, it is very detailed, and please do not forget to subscribe to the channel.
What I did was I folded my fabric into two, and this will be my starting point. And I chalked the length of my jumpsuit. The length of my jumpsuit is 62 inches. I have it here. So what I'll do next is on the starting point, I'm just going to chalk 2 inches. There's an opening on that front area. So I'll chalk 2 inches straight down. So now go ahead to connect it straight down. So what I did was I chalked 2 inches and made it straight down. Now I'll be taking my measurement on this side of the fabric after the 2 inches allowance. On the starting point, I'll be taking my shoulder measurement divided by 2. My shoulder is 15 inches. Divided by 2 will give me 7.5. I'll chalk my 7.5 on this line. Then I'll come down to my armhole line. My armhole is 9 inches. I'm just going to chalk 9 inches and I'll connect it. So what I'll do next is I'll be taking my waist measurement. My waist is 17 inches. I'm just going to chalk it here and I'll connect the line. So what I'll be doing next is I'll be taking from the shoulder to the hip line. So from the shoulder to the hip is 26 inches. I'm going to chalk and I'll connect. So after chalking the hip line, the next line is going to be the crotch line. So from the shoulder to the crotch is 29 inches. But I will not be using 29 inches because when drafting this kind of jumpsuit, you don't want that flap area tight. So you either add extra 4 to 5 inches to it. So I'll be adding extra 4 inches to the crotch line. So I have 34 inches on this point. Now I'll go ahead to connect my line. So what I'll be doing now is I'll be taking my neck measurement. So I'll be using 3 inches by 3 inches. Now I'll go ahead now to just curve my neckline. So after curving, I'll be coming down on that shoulder area by 1 inches for my shoulder slope. Then I'll connect my line. Now I'll just check what I have on that chest line area. I have 8 inches divided by 2 will give me 4. I'll chalk my 4 inches on this point and I'll come in here by half an inch. What I'll do now is on this chest line, I'll place my bust measurement divided by 4. My bust divided by 4 will give me 10 inches. I'll add extra 2 inches for sewing allowance. So I'm just going to curve my armhole. So from this point, I'm just going to curve in the armhole just like this. So on the waistline, I'll be taking my waist measurement divided by 4. My waist divided by 4 will give me 8 inches. So from this point, I'll chalk my 8 inches and I'll be adding extra 2 inches sewing allowance. I have my 2 inches on this point and I'm just going to connect. From the bust point, I'll connect to the waist. So what I'll do next is on the hip line, I'll take my hip measurement divided by 4 inches. My hip divided by 4 will give me 11 inches. I'll be adding extra 2 inches for sewing allowance, which I have here. So I'm just going to connect this point to this point. This is what I have. So after blending it in, what I'll be doing next is on this crotch line, I'll place my round thigh measurement divided by 2. My round thigh, that's my round lap measurement divided by 2. My round lap measurement will give me 13 inches. Divided by 2 will give me 13 inches. I'm just going to chalk it on that point. Then what I'll do is connect this to this. So after doing that, on this crotch line area, that's this 2 inches gap I left, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to connect this line straight down to this end point. After connecting the line to this point, what I'll do now is curve my crotch. So from this line, just try to curve the crotch. You can either use your curve ruler or your free hand. So I'm just going to use my free hand to curve in my crotch just like this. As you can see, this is what I have. From this point, I'm just going to curve it in. So from this point, just try and connect it in just like this. After curving in the crotch, from this point, I just curved it in this way. So what I'll do now is, since this is a palazzo free pant, from this point, I'm just going to connect it straight down. So after doing that, I'll be cutting out the pattern. So from this point, I'm just going to I'll be leaving half an inch for sewing allowance. So guys, I'm done with the front part of my jumpsuit. This is what it looks like. As you can see, I'll go ahead now to cut out the back. So guys, for the back, I folded my fabric into 2. I'm just going to place the front on the back. So after placing the front on the back, this is what it looks like. What I'll do now is I'm just going to shape this part off. Then we'll work on this area. As you can see, I've not cut out my back neckline. I'm just shaping. So now for the back, this is where the neckline is, right? Now for my back neckline, I'll be using 1.5 inches. And I'm just going to curve it to the neckline, just like this. So guys, note, the zip is going to be at the back. So I'll be adding extra on that back line. I'll be adding 1 inches for my zip. So I'm just going to chop 1 inch straight down. Line, I'll be coming in by 2.5 inches. I'm on the medium side, so I'm using 2.5. But if you're on the large side, you can use 3 inches for your crotch. That's for the back. So I'm using 2.5 inches, which I have here. So I'm just going to connect. You can see the 1 inches line. I'm just going to connect from this point. I'm just going to connect it up, just like this. So let me just chop my 1 inches line so that you guys will be able to see it. So as you can see, what I did was, on the back pattern, I came in by 1 inches. Then on this crotch line, I came in by 2.5 inches. Now on this point, I'm just going to come in by 1 inch straight down. So now I'm just going to, from this point, I'm just going to curve it into this 1 inches line. So from this point, just try and curve it into that 1 inches and make it a straight line. So this is what we have for the back. As you can see, I'll go ahead now to cut out my back pattern. So guys, after cutting the front and the back, this is what I have. As you can see, I have 2 pieces for the front and 2 pieces for the back. What I did for the back is I placed my front on the back and I just shaped this side out. Then I added 1 inches for zip, and on this crotch area I came in by 2.5 inches. Then I just came in by this same 1 inches and curved it straight down. That's what I did. So now what I'll be doing next is I'm just going to be sewing. So guys, what I'll be doing is I'll be joining the front separately and joining the back separately. So for the front, you know there's an opening on this part, on that middle part of the front. So you determine how deep you want it to be. So for me, I'm just going to come down from this neck area. I'll come down by 4 inches. And from this 4 inches, I'm just going to be stitching half an inch straight down to this crotch line. I'm stitching half an inch and I'll stop at this crotch. So guys, for the back, what I'll do is, you know we left 1 inches for zip at the back. So before you join, you chalk where you want your zip to stop. So my zip will stop at 20 inches. And you know it's 1 inches we left for the zip. So I'm just going to chalk that 1 inches on this point. So what I'll be doing now is, I'm just going to be stitching from this point. You can stitch it and open it later. So you stitch from this point to this point. Then you double stitch, and from this point you just stitch half an inch straight down to the crotch. So guys, after joining my front, this is what I have. As you can see, I came down by 4 inches. I double stitch and I just stitch half an inch straight down to the crotch. This is what I have on the front area. This is what it looks like. As you can see, I'm just going to place this on this and use my Emmy gum to hold this in place, but I'll be doing that much later. Also for the back, I stitched half an inch and double stitched where I want the zip to stop, and I just went half an inch straight down. So this is what I have for the back. So this is what the back looks like. Now we'll be attaching our pockets. So guys, for the pocket, I have 10 by 10. I cut out 10 by 10 and I have 4 pieces of it. As you can see, I have 4 pieces of it. So guys, to place my front pocket, I'm just going to fold my fabric into 2 just like this. As you can see, I folded it into 2. Now you chalk where you want your pocket to start from. So from the waist, you can go down by 4 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches. It depends on your preference. So from my waist, I'm just going to go down by 5 inches. So this is my 5 inches. So what I'll do now is I'm going to notch these 5 inches. My pocket will be starting from this place. So I'm going to notch the 5 inches line. So this is it here, as you can see. So what I'll do is I'll open it up. So what I'll do now is I'll be placing the pocket I cut. You know I cut 10 by 10 inches. So now the right side should face the right side. So from this notched part that I have here, I'm just going to place this piece on it and I'll be stitching half an inch straight down. So I'll stitch half an inch straight down here, and I'll also do the same thing for this side. So this notched part that I have, I'm just going to place this on it this way, and I'll stitch half an inch straight down to this point. So we'll do the same thing for the back as well. Go ahead to fold your fabric into 2 just like this. So guys, after folding my fabric into 2, I'm just going to chalk my waistline. This is my waistline, so you don't get confused. I'm going to chalk my waistline. This is my waistline. So just the way we did on the front, you know, on the waistline we came down by 5 inches. So I'm just going to chalk that same 5 inches on the back area, and I'm going to notch this 5 inches. As you can see, I've notched that area. I'm just going to open it up. So guys, what I'll be doing is on that notched part, I'm still going to place this on it. So I'll just place one of the pieces on it and stitch straight down here, 1/2 inch. And I'll also do the same thing for this part. On that notched area, I'm going to place my fabric on it this way. And I'll be stitching 1/2 inch straight down here. So guys, after stitching, this is what I have, as you can see. And for this other part, this is what it looks like. And I also have the same thing for the front part of the fabric. So I'm just going to place them together this way. Place them and arrange them together. So guys, what I did was I pinned my fabric together, just as you can see. So what I'll do is stitch 1/2 inch on this shoulder area and also on this part. Then I'll be shaping. Now if you want it tight, you can go ahead now to take your measurement and shape accordingly, but I don't want mine tight. I just want it a bit free, so I won't be taking my measurements. I'm just going to be stitching 1 inch, and I'll be taking it all the way to the pocket. But when you're stitching on the pocket, you can curve your hand a bit just to give this pocket area a curve. So what I mean is I'm going to be stitching 1 inch, let's say 1 inch. I'll come in here, as you can see. Now from this point, just curve your hand a bit. Just curve your hand a bit, just like this, and then you shape 1 inch straight down. So that's what I mean. So I'll do the same thing for this part. I'm going to be shaping 1 inch, and I'll come here and curve my hand a bit, and I'll shape it 1 inch straight down. As you can see, I've stitched and I shaped the pocket area. So what I'll do now is I'm going to be joining this flap area together. I'll be joining the crotch area together. So I'll just pick the front crotch and the back. I'll place them together and I'll run a stitch straight down. So I'm just going to place them together this way, and I'll be stitching straight down. So guys, after stitching, this is what I have, as you can see. So after stitching, what I'll be doing next is I'm going to be using my bias on the neckline. So I'll go and bias the neckline, and I'll also attach my sleeve to it. Then after doing all of that, after using your bias, you can go ahead to use your Emmy gum to just hold this place in place. So guys, after attaching my zip on the jumpsuit, this is what it looks like. As you can see, on that neckline at the front, I had to come down a bit. Hope this tutorial was helpful. Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, share, and drop a comment. See you guys in the next class. Bye.